Hey guys, it's Neo Gaming. Today we'll be doing a April ban list.
April 1st ban
Yep.
list.
Just pretty much predictions covering monsters, spells, traps, all that. Specifically Necros and Necros cards. If you think
Just meta.
So basically, we'll start with extra deck monsters first.
Dante to 1. Dante Travel with the Burning Abyss. Unfortunately, sorry to see you go, buddy.
Yeah, Burning Abyss have escaped way too many
Tired.
They need to go away. Konami needs them to go away for money.
Yeah, because
They can't have a deck that's been around here for 2 ban lists still be relevant. It's just not right.
They could always just reprint Dante in Premium Gold.
Yes!
No. Yes! Second card that I think maybe could get reprinted in Premium Gold too is Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This card should not be on the land list. We have a searchable, ritual summonable Trishula.
That's a 3.
That's a 3. That doesn't require any tuners.
And you can pretty much call it back from Great Cycle. So
yeah, so we're gonna say Trish is fair for everyone.
yeah.
Plus, if you make this card, you deserve a medal. You've done it. Cards that I think could go to 2 from their current position on the list are BLS. BLS we probably need to talk about. This card is game-changing, game-breaking. Drawing BLS is like an auto win sometimes. But is that really such a bad thing? I think it promotes skillful play when both players have a BLS, and it's just dependent on who drops it and when it's dropped.
Yeah.
Like, when it's at 2, you can more safely assume they have the BLS instead of being like, man, I hope they don't draw the BLS.
Yeah.
You're like, I wonder when the BLS is going to drop. So I think BLS to 2 promotes more skillful play around that card.
Alright. And then
T-King.
yeah, T-King.
This hurts Cleaves, hurts Necros, hurts any deck that searches a ton. A monster form of Mistake is just generally amazing.
And they wouldn't even have to hit Necros as much if they brought it back. So, and then as for like Necros specific cards that we think are gonna get hit to 2, Senju to 2 and Manju to 2, just because we don't think they need to go to 1. I think just the 2 is enough because like these are the main 2 Stratuses of the deck, and you don't need to bring them to 1. And then potentially cards that can go to 1, specifically Prep to 1, Unicorp maybe.
Doubtful on the Unicorn, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, but if TCG,
it depends. It depends what happens to everything else in the ban list. Everything like they won't limit Unicorn if they limit Dante. I don't think.
Yeah,
because they won't even rule They won't even rule Burning Abyss as a viable opponent anymore. Because
then,
what's Burning Abyss gonna do with one Dante
Yeah.
against Necros right now?
another thing, Dark Hole to 3 maybe. I don't know, like Mass Destruction.
Mass Destruction's that's a
relevant.
lot of Mass Destruction to have in the format though, so that's a little scary. But I think it's not terrible. I don't think that would be terrible for the game. Just an opinion. Cards that could come off the ban, or rather, Monster. They could go to 3. Dragon Gores, kind of the same boat. I think they gotta come off. I think they've been on the list way too long. I mean, Gores is just Chem to 2, but see anybody playing Gores? No.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mermails. Gundy? Did you see anybody playing Mermails?
By the way, I was just trying to talk about some of the Mermail cards, like Dragoons.
Alright, I've seen some
Diva.
some crazy shit with Atlantean Prince Neptibus.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. Let's be realistic
you have a
here.
searchable Swift Scarecrow in the meta.
Two,
right now.
yeah.
So O2Ks aren't going to be that common against Necros anymore.
We're gonna say 2 Diva and 2 Dragoons is not gonna
Yeah.
change the format. They need an extra title if they want to really make a difference. And we're not prepared.
I'm pretty
to
sure
give
by
an
the
extra
look of the
dragon title.
promo card in the next set, they want to promote Mermails. So, you know.
I mean no.
I mean, but
Yeah, they want to promote.
if they want to, if they maybe
Vanilla
like
pendulums.
summon, like use Diva to summon Pendulum from the deck, and then Synchro. I don't know.
That I don't know, man. Vanilla Pendulum Synchros. They already have a Pendulum XYZ. Oh man, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Monsters that could come off the ban list. So last list we saw Snatch Steal come off, and Snatch Steal was a goat card inherently. You think of Snatch Steal before last format, you think of goats. Now you think of anger. But Snatch Steal, obviously being a goat card, could signal the return for other goat things to get tested back, or it could mean it gets immediately banned and nothing from goats will ever return. So that includes Sinister Serpent. Obviously, it's probably going to get its errata soon.
Yeah.
But that's, I would say, a shoe-in to come back.
Ring of Destruction.
Ring, anything,
Sengen,
Crush Guard.
Crush Guard, yeah.
I would say, I'll bet all the money I have. on
Chaos
Crush
Emperor
Guard coming
Dragon.
back. Chaos Emperor
back.
Dragon. If they don't hit Dante on this next list, Burning Abyss is going to be a threat. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the Chaos Emperor Dragon will trigger all of the Burning Abyss effects in hand.
Yeah.
Which is just no way, no, for a deck that already doesn't need help. Now it's got Crush Card and Chaos Emperor at its disposal whenever it wants. It's fair.
Alright, so...
Another card that could come back is Sangan. I don't think this card's that great. I think setting Sangan and passing isn't actually a great thing.
The old T formation and go format.
Just
set one
Sangan.
back row, set one Sangan.
That'll be it.
The strategy.
I know we
the
can search
format.
Veilers and like cute,
Yeah, because
cute
Necros
Maxis
definitely won't just
and like
banish your Sangan if you set
it won't get trashed right.
Yeah, I'm not.
I
Definitely
promise.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
And it's not like Skarm is like better.
Pretty much Sangan, except it doesn't ever miss timing.
Skarm
So
pretty much makes a tour guide engine. So I might even say Skarm gets limited to 1. And then that
I can see that happening, maybe. But then you basically like Skarm and Tour Guide are pretty much the same thing. So I feel like
Alright, I'm gonna say
either one.
I'm just gonna say semi-limit tour guide.
Semi-limit Tour Guide. I'd say semi-limit Skarm as well. If you're gonna semi-limit Tour Guide, just because
Semi-limit in both.
I mean Skarm
Skarm is ridiculous.
and you don't really run Tour Guide and anything else in Burning Abyss anyway.
Well, there's some decks that just want to use it just for the pure rank 3s, but there's not.
Yeah, but like they aren't relevant.
Because any deck that really needs its own like
A tour guide
to borrow
to
borrow an engine is not going to be actually that great. Elemental Stratos, it's on the list. It'll always be on the list. So we're just going to say this card deserves to stay banned because it does. Not at all. All right. Soul Charge. This card is game changing, game breaking.
top deck.
It should have never been released. Really, is the issue that I'm running into. It made every deck competitive in the meta because top decking Soul Charge was just
Sylvans were tier
damn
1 for a long
powerful.
time just because of Soul Charge.
Yeah, Infernities.
Yeah, Infernities won. You know, they won.
Put Archfiend to 3 without a Soul Charge.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And instead of just getting rid of Soul Charge completely, they had to limit Archfiend to 1, which
they could have just banned Soul Charge and then that's it.
Yeah,
it wasn't Infernity's fault.
Putting Archfiend to 1 was.
It was Soul Charge's fault.
Actually, anyways, next card.
Book of Moon to 2. I like Book of Moon to 2 because it promotes skillful play, and this card is not that great. It's an inherent neg 1, which is just
to the gen
a little bit slow. But yeah, it outs a Gen.
And also, maybe Gen should get banned because Gen is an indestructible Vandy's. Basically, you can make it. I mean, you can Gungnir, you can make it targeting. It's like a Vandy's Fiend on steroids, essentially.
It's just not okay, in my opinion.
But basically, I mean, it does say that only your opponent can special. It is a one-sided.
It's a Vanity's ruler.
Vanity's Fiend.
Vanity's ruler is your opponent can't special summon monsters.
Yeah, so
2 tributes,
one-sided.
Except all you have to do
and
is
enhance because you can pretty much protect it.
You can it's protectable.
Yeah.
It's got it, and plus you can Swift Scarecrow with your surgical Swift Scarecrow if you can't protect it.
Yeah.
Dimensional Fissure.
Go to 2. Yeah. It's a spell card, not a trap, and they want to promote the new decks.
Ritual Beasts a little bit. It also promotes
Yosenju's. Yosenju's a lot.
This card's pretty good.
It doesn't actually enhance Yosenju's, but you know.
But
they just like to run all.
It hurts everything else. Yeah. So that's good. Here's something I really hope doesn't come back. Heavy Storm.
That probably won't come back.
I hope it doesn't, because it'll ruin the format.
But I mean, thinking about how much of a blowout card Dinko is right now, and how format changing that card was, I doubt Heavy will ever come back in the team.
Heavy Storm or Denko Sekka needs to be limited to 1,
or at least semi-limited, because I know lots of Dinko players are just maining 3 now.
It's a blowout card. It's changing your deck, the decks of your opponent, which I don't think is particularly okay. We can't really have a card in a format that makes
and then top decking
Dinko
in a game where you should have just lost
is terrible. Your opponent sets 5 back row, opens up Scout, or your opponent opens up 4 back row, Scout, and
I was actually at an
carrier.
ARG event just recently, and pretty much people were always preemptively flipping their vanities, their
ARG
skill
Fort Cheater.
drains. Yeah.
Energy
ARG for cheater, and just their vanities, their skill drains, their mistakes, their mind drains, just because of the Denko. Like, the fact that you have to do that for a single card that may or may not be run in a deck,
not okay.
that's not even archetype specific, is not okay.
Plus, it's light.
Especially since it's light.
You can honest.
Honest is such a troll, honestly. So, I mean, honestly, some people... Honestly. Some people might just run honest just because they run Denko.
I run
It's just
Denko.
that good of a card.
I run Denko. I mean,
I run Denko, I run honest, I run Sacky cards.
I just like
game-changing cards.
I like to sack my opponent, make
Yeah.
them cry.
Okay.
Instant fusion. This kind of goes hand in hand. Another thing that can come back from goats is Thousand Eyes Restrict. Thousand Eyes Restrict is kind of a weak card if you look at it without instant fusion, and with instant fusion, it's still not great. This card
It's not great
basically
at
says
all.
pop one.
Basically, I mean, not...
I mean, unless you want to, main
Doesn't even
Tsukiyomis
say,
and
like,
flip
it's
down
basically
your...
like a really shitty version of Smashing Ground, because, like, its effect can be negated.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
a monster, so it
yeah.
can get, like...
Like, when are you ever going to want to do that, though? It's
You
more
just
or
won't.
less for the Nodin.
I
Going
think
into rank 4 is
if
nice.
Thousand Eyes Restrict, this gets limited to one, and then they don't have to deal with it when Nodin is out there
Yeah.
being insane. So I don't know, they might do that. Snatch Deal.
Should get banned.
Should get banned,
Probably
won't.
won't. So,
Not really
enough
much
said.
to say about that.
Yeah. Pot of Greed.
No.
We should
No,
talk
I'm talking
about...
about these last.
Oh, okay. I mean...
A lot of things that I think could come back up in the ranks for numbers are Soul Drain. I want to talk about initially. It's a great anti-meta card. I think this card's like my favorite anti-meta card because it's the
it's also,
true
like,
definition
one
of a
the only drains.
chainable.
This is one, though.
Yeah, chainable drain. Oh, should we talk about
Skill
Skill drain?
Skill drain might get some unlimited.
I can see Skill Drain getting semi-limited.
Because you don't want it... Like, I mean, it's not really a game-changing card, but, like, the
It's
fact
a
that you can draw
blowout.
into it so consistently, and especially since not only does it hinder other game states, but it enhances Klee's game state, just makes it amazing. So I think it might get semi-limited.
It's a goddamn blowout. It's not okay. Staples are all... I think should all go to 2. I think that slows down the format a little bit, and plus it promotes skillful play. Playing around 2 warnings rather than wondering if your opponent opened warning or opened bottomless, open torrential, open compulsory.
Yeah.
And another thing with bottomless, you might even see some Trap Trick engine being tossed in, which would be pretty cool because I think that engine's just amazing.
Yeah. And then,
for other traps,
I think
Vanities
should go to 1.
No.
I can see it going to 1.
It could. I could see Vanities going anywhere on the list. I think Vanities' position on the list is completely just dependent on how Konami's feeling when they're in the meeting. Vanities could go to 2, Vanities could go to 1, and Vanities could get banned. It's
It's
depends.
not going to get banned, I don't think.
I think this
It
card
shouldn't get banned.
This card could easily warrant a ban, but I think it'll probably go to 2 or go to 1.
But you gotta think about stuff like Skill Drain, which is pretty much, in most situations, Skill Drain can be a lot better than Vanities can be.
Yeah. Very
And,
true.
like, sometimes you can just go instant neg 1 with Vanities, just because you have things like Dance Princess that just are searchable Denkos that pretty much bait out cards like that. So I think 1 and 2, just to... Because that way you see Vanities, and once you get rid of it, you don't have to worry about it anymore. They can't stop you from playing for a whole turn, go off the next turn, and then set another Vanities and shut you out again.
Yeah,
So I
but
think
another thing that could be kind of dumb is who gets their Vanities first. It's like this thing. It's a thing with warning. It's like who gets their warning first when they're playing a trap heavy deck. That's kind of important. Another thing, Mind Crush. Go to 2. Go to 1 even. I don't think it warrants going to 1, but I think Mind Crush going to 2 might be something that could happen. It's seeing a lot of play right now, and it's really powerful. It's seeing play for a reason. So I like Mind Crush. The errata things all could come back.
Yeah.
So that includes
Ring.
Ring. I think Ring could come back. Ring is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Even with its errata text, I think that it'll be one of the only cards that makes an impact on the meta. That was the things we talked about Burning Abyss
Yeah.
earlier. And now for my wild card factor, I have 4 cards that I want to talk about that could come back. One of them being Spellbook of Judgment. Spellbook of Judgment could come back to 1.
No.
It would be hilarious. I don't think it'll happen.
It would be awful.
If it was going to happen, it was going to happen during the Megaton reprint.
That wouldn't make any sense. Konami has no reason to promote spellbooks. Spellbooks are done, over, and said. What they went to Worlds, They've done
They
what
tried.
they need to do.
They've
lost
sold
it.
their copies.
The next most broken deck, in my opinion, I thought Spellbooks was better than Dragon Rulers, to be completely honest, but they lost. They've had it.
It's over.
Judgment is no way.
Shocker. These are kind of just shocker cards that could just happen. Pot of Avarice. I really don't want it to come back, but I think it could. It's really dumb. With Jar of Avarice, it makes me think even less it's gonna come back, but
We gotta think. Cards like
Konami's
Pot of
insane.
Greed, Pot of Avarice, when they start releasing the jar versions of those cards, it pretty much just solidifies their place in the ban list. They kind of just do it for lulz. Like, oh,
you're
look at this cuter card that we can release. That's a lot worse, but, you know, pretty much a substitution.
When are we gonna see Jar of Duality?
Not even a substitution. I can't even.
When are we gonna see Jar of Duality?
Once Pot of Duality gets banned,
Oh god,
which it won't.
it's terrible. It's not good enough to
awful.
get.
You need to be able to special summon. So that's
Pot of Greed, inherent +1 in every deck. I hate this. I think it would be
it's
dumb.
not like there aren't already inherent +1s.
It'd be Stratos.
I mean, you have
He's banned.
2 inherent +1, 3 inherent +1s in Necro's deck. You got Prep, you got Manju, you got Senju. I mean, and Pot of Greed, that's... I know, Pot of Greed, it's like, when you draw into it, if you put it at 1, it just increases the stack factor to that much more.
So dumb.
Whenever someone opens up Pot of Greed first turn, it's just like they start with 6 cards in their hand.
You just
Which is not okay.
it's just nuts.
So I don't see that coming back,
not
but
good.
you never know. Another
Well,
thing, Premature Burial.
could come
Could
back.
come back. It's like a call. It's like...
Yeah,
But a lot. It's like a call, except it's not quick play. So you basically have to activate it on your turn.
Plus, it's also hidden armor researchable, which is a little
But-
scary.
But it's not call by any means. Like
It's,
the thing with
call
call
is
is
so much
you
better.
have to
This
activate
card-
this on your turn.
This has to be destroyed. Basically, the monster has to be destroyed, or this has to be destroyed for the monster to be destroyed. It can get bounced back.
And not that it's
by
relevant, but you
a
have to pay
lot.
800.
Yeah.
Nice and
Ooh.
nice and clean payment.
Oh.
But keep in mind that 800 will get you a search from any card in your whole deck. So
Plus,
Premature
this is
compared to
searchable by
that,
Hidden Armory. So,
maybe.
it's kind of, I don't know. That's really my
So is Smash
shock.
Deal though. So
Yeah, but basically, people
And
might
I
start.
wouldn't- I
People,
wouldn't even-
people might start playing
they're
one
both
premature,
the
one
same.
snatch,
Like if they have MST,
two premature, two premature.
Snatch Steal and Premature do the same thing.
Yeah,
And like this, I would say Premature isn't that much better than Snatch Steal is.
I don't
You
think
get a
so.
monster either way.
it has to be from the grave as well,
Yeah.
where you can take your opponent's
like
monsters.
versus stealing your opponent's monster and using it for like maybe like an XZ play or something else, versus getting a monster from your own graveyard. Keep in mind, this is not like Monster Reborn. You cannot
You can't
just
just
take
take it.
monsters that your opponent has acquired through developing card advantage
and plus it's
and use it for your own.
equipped.
And it's an equip card, and
If it gets MST, it's just
it's
done,
if you don't actually get the effect of its MST. And keep in mind, you can MST this at any time,
and it's gone.
and it has to be activated on your turn. So again, I think they could come back.
It could come back. It wouldn't make that. It would make an impact, but I don't know how much of an impact.
Yeah.
It's just like what I said about the goat stuff from before.
I actually want to talk about this one card you mentioned earlier. I want to talk about Mind Crush, actually, because I think Mind Crush has been receiving a lot of play, and I would say it's just as it's just as stunning as like a card like Vanities is, except something that you have to keep in mind with Mind Crush is that you have to have a card in your hand to activate this.
Yeah.
That is something that you have
Makes
to
a
keep in
big
mind.
difference.
Because I see a lot of people, especially on DN, trying to activate this card without any cards in hand, and you can't do that. So, and I mean, it is very skillful. Like, part of the reason that you run Mind Crush is just the advantage of knowing
your opponent's hand. Oh, also,
and being able to play around it and keep track of what they play and what they haven't played.
if any hand destruction or any hand thing is going to come back that ruins your opponent's hand, it's going to be Trap Dust Shoot.
Yeah,
I think that card
but it won't.
would be
Especially
just
since,
really, really cute to come back.
since we're talking about, or at least you were talking about limiting
Right.
Mind Crush, and
Semi-limiting
Trap Dust Shoot.
Mind Crush. I think.
I don't think Mind Crush will get hit at all. Though. I think it's a really skillful card, and I enjoy having it. Like,
I know.
even when it's used against me as a Necros player, I enjoy having this card just because it's a very skillful card, and to be able to use it to its full advantage, you have to be a good player.
Yeah,
You have to be able to play around cards that you know that they have. So I think that it just adds a whole skill factor to the game. But
Yeah.
that's my opinion on Mind Crush. Pretty much
One,
agree with you on everything else.
and then there's like stupid things like Bestiari. Like
Why Bestiari? Do you ever just cry when your opponent normal summons a Bestiari? It's like, Wow, what a stack! He drew into his one of bestiary. Oh man, like
God, what a
what is that
bitch.
card doing? And who runs Glad Beasts? I just don't understand Konami sometimes.
No.
So like, I guess they're just trying to ease its way back into the game.
It was never banned.
So
It's
Konami-
been, like,
Just so Konami can like make sure that it won't do anything if they bring it back to like 2. They'll come bring it like back
damn
to
it.
2.
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna come back to 2 for one format. Somebody's gonna like win a YCS with Glabbies like somehow
No.
with the
I don't
magic.
think. So I mean, but let's be completely honest here though. Like
Glabbies aren't like
what are you gonna? What is popping back to Necro's deck?
nothing. But the thing
What do they care?
Geysaris is the thing.
Yeah,
that,
there are extra deck monsters that you do use Bestiaria for.
Geysaris,
relevant,
which
yeah.
is pop 2, and then Herc. But Herc is
But
kind
you're not
of
getting that card.
you're not getting Herc out
Wait,
against Necros.
Glad Beasts aren't good
It's just-
enough. And Valk, that's another thing.
That's
Glad
another
Be-
thing.
That's
Gotta remember.
completely touched on Glad Beasts.
Glabbies can't actually do anything. They can't
You just
tag.
Valk.
Just
That
Valk.
ruins the deck. It's just like Yosenju's, really. You just Valk Yosenju's.
Valk. Yeah.
So, I mean, relevant decks, Glad Beasts isn't doing anything.
Yeah, no.
As a relevant deck.
Plants. I kind of want to talk about plants. They're releasing a little bit of plant support. So does that mean? That means I could see Glow Up Bulb going to 3 because I don't know why it's even on the list.
I can see it going to 2.
It's
I
no one's
understand
gonna play
it's
more than
once
one.
per duel,
No one's gonna play more than one.
but I mean, you could play. The thing is, you could play them more than one just to increase the consistency, but you wouldn't. That's the thing. And I don't think Konami will bring it back to 3 just in case there's something you can do with Glow Up Bulb,
No.
which there isn't. But knowing Konami, they only brought it back to 1.
Very
I'm sure
cautious because they
Konami's
were like,
just trying to watch them.
it's not actually
themselves.
good enough to do anything.
What do you think
And
about
plus,
Spore
we'll
and
reprint it.
Dandelion?
Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Dandelion. They'll stay because Dandelion
Really?
is super powerful. The Spore's already at 3.
What is Dandelion doing?
I mean,
What are you running that card in?
nothing.
I
But
think it can,
it's
I think,
so powerful though. We already
I
tried
think Spore is better than Dandelion. Like, I don't know, because like,
generating 2 tokens off a discard is just really powerful, and especially in a synchro deck.
nothing runs
Even though I don't think
that.
synchros
Nothing
are
runs
particularly decent at all, like they're kind of terrible. Oops, sorry, synchros, but you're kind of terrible. The most competitive synchro play that is seeing like heavy play is Herald of Arclight.
And then like cards
So-
like Card Trooper.
Card Trooper could go to 3. Then
Card
we have
Trooper
Troop
will go to
Troop
3.
Dupe Scoop.
I see Card Trooper going to
Troop Dupe Scoop.
Troop Dupe Scoop. And then well, other cards at 2. Maybe all those can come back to 3.
Yeah.
Like Chaos Sorcerer. I don't see Chaos Sorcerer being run. I don't see anyone running 3 Chaos Sorcerer in a deck anytime soon.
No.
And
'Cause then
what
you-
is Chaos Sorcerer relevant? We have to like deduce what's actually
Shaddolls.
relevant. It's relevant in Shaddolls, which at this point I consider to be an anti-meta deck.
Not even anti-meta, they're rogue.
Rogue. And then Burning Abyss, which I do see getting hit, so I don't see Chaos Sorcerer doing much in that deck.
Plus, no one
Not
runs,
even like they would run.
no one's run because you only run BLS because it's the Mac Daddy, and you have to banish a Dante for it. Like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna be banishing a
Especially
Dante
when we
for a
see
Chaos
Dante getting hit to
Sorcerer.
1, we won't be seeing as much as that. So I can see Chaos Sorcerer coming.
You mean
to
bump to 2?
3. Or to Dante.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about BLS, but yeah, no one's gonna be running any Chaos and Burning Abyss. No one's even gonna be running any Burning Abyss if
Yeah.
Dante gets hit to 1.
And I mean, okay, so Cleaports. We talk about hitting Skill Drain. What do you think about Scout?
I don't think you can hit Scout. I don't think the deck's worth playing if you hit Scout. I think you gotta hit Sacrifice.
But I think Cleaports have just been. They've been
I think-
relevant almost
I think
as long
you
as
hit-
BA's been.
hit Sacrifice to 2.
Sacrifice. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, but that doesn't hurt the deck that much, honestly, because pretty much like you don't ever really count on drawing in the sack. Like most of the time, you search it, and I don't know. I think maybe hitting they could potentially hit Scout to 2.
I think Sacrifice is the best hit. I don't think they'll hit Summoner's Art. I've heard some people
Obviously
say that,
not.
but because normal pendulums.
Think about the pendulums coming out.
That's just not.
Summoner's Art is not going. That doesn't even make any
Ignites.
sense.
That just doesn't sound like a good.
And they're not going to hit Rhoda either.
Nope. Rhoda. I think now that Rhoda's made its way to 3, Rhoda's gonna stay at 3 forever.
Yeah.
Unless something comes out that
So,
demands Rhoda.
Talking
to
about
go down.
Trishula, what do you think about Brianna?
Brionac, Dragon of the
that
Ice Barrier.
threat of a card.
The God. Just go ahead and make Mermail's tier 1.
What does it even say? It says return to the hand? Like,
Yeah, discard any number of cards.
think about that against Necros, though.
That's terrible.
It's
not gross.
like return their Valk to the hand, return their Brio to the hand. Like, and it doesn't even function underneath Unicore.
No.
Unicore just says no.
But any deck that's not Necros
And
is
Brionic
dying.
has just as much attack as Unicore does, so the most they could do is crash. And at that point, it's like,
Wait, so the way that it would resolve is would you discard for Brio anyway? The normal Synchro Brio? Would you discard?
you could discard payment, but you wouldn't be able to resolve the effect.
In Mermails, you can just discard like
Yeah,
which
you
one
could,
pops
you could
face
discard
up?
like the
It's
It's
either
an
it's not
Atlantean-
marksman, it's heavy infantry.
heavy infantry, yeah. So
Yeah.
you could discard
Discard
you could
heavy
pay,
infantry, and then you discard heavy infantry, and then you pop
pop Unicore,
pop Unicorn, and then you can activate
and then
this
start
effect
bouncing
again.
like what to hand, like
Nothing,
Trish,
because then
like
your
Valk.
field's clear typically.
Like, oh, you gave me my Swiss Scarecrow back. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's great.
It's bad against Necros, but it's not bad against any other deck. Plus Mermails, which is fucking.
Alright, so let's think about the decks then. Like
crazy.
Cleese, what's it gonna do against Cleese? They gain advantage, like pretty much, and the only deck that I can really think that would be good against is BA, and I see BA getting hit. So I think Brio could come back actually.
So
like,
scary.
I know Brio's scary for all you guys who used to play when Brio was like a thing. It was like if you didn't have a Brio in your action deck, you pretty much just lose. Like you had no hopes of winning if you didn't have a Brio in your action deck. But now, I mean, bouncing back Valks, bouncing back carriers, bouncing back stealths.
Which is not good.
Whatever it may
Stealth
be.
isn't actually affected.
Stealth doesn't care.
It's not-
Most clean monsters don't care.
Can't
about
actually
Brio.
do anything.
So
about
actually,
Brio.
you could bounce like sacrifice monsters, but then they get a search, and now they have a carrier in hand. So
It's
the only
just all bad.
that could really be relevant against his BA, and bouncing back, they're floaters, so they don't even really care that much.
Extra deck monsters, but nothing really goes into extra
Much like
deck this time.
Dante, maybe Graph hits the grave, special summon like a seer.
Yes.
Like you just start floating. They don't care. And I know Mermails, but
That's scary.
Brio has to think back when Mermails is like
That's
was
scary.
the deck.
Brio is too scary to come back, unfortunately. Goyo can go to 3 though, because what the fuck is it doing it to?
Goyo at 2. Who runs 3 Goyo?
Who runs 2? Who's like, come on, I can Goyo a 3, dude.
Yeah, we need. Where's my 3rd Goyo? I really wanted to go into my 3rd Goyo that game. Like, God, I was missing the 3rd Goyo.
I was able to synchro something 3 times, and then my opponent dying of laughter.
Yeah, I really wanted that 3rd Goyo Guardian because I definitely went through 2 of them, and he managed to.
3 level 6 synchros
Yeah.
is what I made that game.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it. I had to make Gaia
I needed
Knight.
to make that 3rd Goyo. I'd make some other
Gaia
stupid
Knight.
card. I had to make
Vulcan the Divine.
Yeah, I'd make Vulcan.
Ugh.
God, card's awful.
Ugh.
Ugh. It's like no,
No.
especially.
Hey, what do you think about Hyper Librarian going to 2?
I mean, now that we're on this, it's so scary. I could see that opening up so many other plays. Like
I want it though.
they just start imagine 2 Hyper Librarian in the field.
Yeah, and you
So you
make
can summon 1 card, you draw 2.
no, you draw summon a quick draw synchro, draw 3.
Yeah. So I don't see Hyper Librarian coming back. That opens way too many plays
I like it.
for any synchro decks. It's just like Brio. I really want it coming back, but like when you put Brio back, you just give
You
just give
any deck.
cards that get graveyard effects and get discard effects and
Yeah.
get like Dark Worlds, Mermails, BA. Like
By
you just
the
give
way,
that's too many
Shadows
opportunities.
Shadows would be crazy with a Brio. Because
Yeah.
they can discarding. I'm pretty sure they trigger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's gonna be not good. Also, Chaos Emperor Dragon, that's searchable on that deck with Eclipse Wyvern. So Shadows might get scary. I don't think they'll get
Doubt it.
hit. Because
Doubt
they're
it.
terrible. right
Yeah,
now.
they are terrible.
As of right now, they're
And
terrible.
the new Shadalcom cards.
The water
extra
Shadal.
deck? Yeah. The
The Asimov.
thing that says you can't ritual summon, basically.
Basically,
Not
fuck
bad.
you, Necros.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
That's it. And kind of fuck you, Clipboard, a little bit.
Yeah. So
Oh,
other ridiculous cards that could potentially come back. Like what's been
God.
banned for a while? I'm trying to think.
Long time.
Just like
Change of
since
Heart?
the beginning of time. Change of Heart. Nope.
Nope.
Like hard is.
No.
It's just like Snatch Deal, except you don't have to like. It's on the equip card, so basically.
It goes back to your opponent at the end of the turn. Jeez.
Yeah, but if you ever use it,
Oh.
you're not just gonna like steal it and just kind of like just not
Swing.
you
You can
do
swing
something
with
with
it,
it.
too.
You can swing for game.
Another thing that I might talk about coming to 2. Obviously, not all the synchro support can come back. I'm talking about a lot of synchro support coming back in this video, but obviously, if one thing comes back, other things might not be able to. But how about mind control 2?
Mind control, yeah.
Doesn't
Sure.
really. It's not really
Smash does
doing
it.
anything.
Smash Deal's a 1.
Smash is a 1. Put
If
mind control
Konami's
to
not
2.
putting banning back Smash Deal, put mind control at 2. Why not? Make the game more sacky.
I mean, what's mind control gonna do?
Honestly, I'd be very salty if mind control came back to 2.
Why?
Just because anything where you can just steal your opponent's monster, it just makes the game like...
What does that do to Necros? What does that do to your deck?
Necros?
What do they steal? What do they steal? And then what do they do with it? Because they get it back at the end of the turn.
But
They
think
can't
about
tribute it. They
think
can't-
about what think about what mind control. What you can do with mind control though. You can swing the same turn you use mind
No, you
control. You can't.
You can.
That's creature swap. That's what it was. Creature swap. You use creature swap. So mind control maybe
Mind control. You can't swing. You can't attack, and you can't
use it for
tribute.
Yeah.
So mind control's a little bit terrible. Brain control. Brain control to 1. Snatch Shield ban. Brain
Bring back
control to 1.
all the all the ridiculous.
Fuck it. Let's
cards
just put brain control to 3.